And now comes the big one, our summer show. So because it was the Buckley Home, which was heavily medieval themed, this year we're doing a Renaissance fair. Hello there, my name is Nuance, and I am the owner, main builder, and experience creator for the Narratrix. When I founded the Narratrix, I knew I wanted to not only host horror-themed events, but mainly focus on the magic that is having anyone be the main character in their own story. In VR, the limits of reality are completely ignored, and the only thing stopping us from doing whatever we want is if it's quest compatible or not. The Glowyearn Festival is a holiday celebrated in Dragon Noble, a 7-part story written by Jasper Buckley, one of the 2 main antagonists for our horror show, The Buckley Home. Jasper is a character who, well, he sees himself as a white knight. He thinks that what he thinks is law and justice is real justice, and it's reflected in Dragon Noble, with all the townsfolk constantly praising him even when their conditions aren't so great.
Jasper continued to be the edgelord we all know and love.
Jasper himself is kind of a loser.
I think Jasper's a little pissant.
Whenever he portrays himself in his book, he wants to be the cool person, the knight in shining armor, the coolest king that's ever existed. So doing that, I thought, well, what would someone who doesn't know anything about being an actual good person consider being an actual good person?
I didn't get what I wanted because his parents are abusive as hell, comma.
So I started thinking, well, he wouldn't see a king as royalty, he'd probably see them more like a superhero. That's why you can see doing the superhero poses in almost every picture that is taken.
I had to really like Jasper, which I'm not saying I hate him, but I like Mavis more.
Mavis is cunning, quiet, and nurturing Jasper to hate his family for reasons not yet known.
Like, we know what happened, but they don't know what happened.
Jasper really thinks that she's a good person. He thinks that she can't do any wrong, and so he lets her tell him these things, and he believes her 100%.
I had to hate on Mavis a lot, which is a character that I personally, throughout the knowledge I know, I really enjoy.
I do wish we could have done more with her. I think we can find more ways to overtly dig up her past.
Because he feels like the treatment of her and other characters like her are so unfair, he writes it through his book on how everyone else is just wrong and he is her hero and the hero of all people like her. The festival in the story is more of a summer Christmas event almost. It's their holiday that follows the mating of dragons and tries to use the power of the moon to ward off nesting near their towns, since in this universe, dragons are divine and follow the sun. At the end of the festival, people will travel for hundreds of miles to watch the ritual and share gifts, get drunk, the whole 9 yards. It is a huge party. And like Christmas, only kids and certain religious figures actually believe the stories are true, but mostly just do it because, well, why do we do Christmas? It's just a great time. So when preparing for the Glowyearn Festival, all of my staff spawns right here, same place as all of you do. This was our spawning area. You would spawn on the bridge as if you are on a journey to come into the kingdom. You are a visitor to our kingdom. We had our moon puzzle, which was simply you would walk up to 4 of these, you'd hit it, and you'd get a little souvenir. One of my biggest challenges is, of course, making this world quest compatible. Actually, if you are quest, this world's gonna look a little bit different than what PC VR players are because a lot of stuff was removed. PC VR players, if you had a weaker PC, you could toggle anywhere in the map, so we can actually go over here and I can show you a way to turn off stuff that you don't want. So I could go over here, remove, and you'll see things that have been removed, and then toggle back, and you'll see things that come back. So not a lot of stuff disappears, it's mostly flora stuff, but little details that help add just a few more frames to make it easier. When we originally went to take photos of Jasper and Mavis for the haunted house, I wanted to use this specific world by Showpow, and I was really hoping to find something similar because I knew that Showpow, some of their worlds are pre-fave assets that they just kind of clean up and make look nice and then throw them in VRChat. So when I found out that this was on sale, we actually had a completely different world being worked on and I was just waiting for the files. When I saw this was on sale, I picked it up immediately. I was like, I need this. I want to use this. This is something extremely important to me. This is a location that was in the vision board. Everybody's role in this world was supposed to help bring the world to life. So the idea was that Everyone's role was kind of a normal character to showcase the day-to-day life in Jasper's kingdom.
Some of my favorite bits was definitely Bartleby Bowline, which was my main kind of posh noble character. Had a lot of general kind of interaction between players and staff, and it was a very annoying character intentionally. It provoked a lot out of people, and got people talking, got people interacting, trying to my way out of situations, especially when certain guards would conveniently lie about what I was doing, and me trying to figure the best way out of that situation.
I'm Buffalo. I was a tour guide, and then I did a knight on the last day. There was one time when I sold out a fellow knight, played by Nebula, to Jasper multiple times and saying everything I did poorly was his fault.
Honestly, I thought down here would be kind of an issue, like a dead zone, because there's just a lot less going on, but it turned out to work out pretty well in our favor. All of the buildings that you see around us, as long as their door is not open, anybody could climb. So we had thieves constantly scaling walls and being sneaky and cryptid, and guests constantly chasing them, which was kind of cool to see.
The most memorable, because of how exhausting it was getting chased by, like, I think I could safely say half the lobby throughout the whole map. Ended up as a small chase, and over time it garnered more and more people, and at one point I turned around and it was like a good 30 people running after me trying to capture me.
The last thing we had in the town was this area which led to the forest. We had somebody here at the yellow tent who would be in charge of kind of calling people over, letting them know there's something going on over there, and warning them about the dangers. Originally, this was supposed to be a full haunted house experience. Not like in the same way of the Buckley Home, but it was going to be 2 straight lines, one straight line going from here to there, and the other straight line from there to here. And whichever way you went, something different would happen. We were going to have scare actors. Unfortunately, that did not pan out through fully because a lot of people had a lot of different things they wanted to do, and we want to make sure that our staff is having a fun time as well, and it was something I was willing to get rid of because it wasn't that big of a deal. I did hear, though, a lot of people did end up getting scared in this because there were still some scare opportunities, so I think that's cool.
Even though there was a lot of traffic going through for Glowyearn going through the forest, is a few times you could have seen, being stopped by thieves, or the rare time seeing, somebody gets kidnapped and dragged through the forest.
And of course, at the end, the magical ruins. We had wizards, mermaids, a frog, all different types of characters. Over here was kind of the wizard area where you could learn how to do magic, try potions, get to learn some spells.
Something I learned at Glowyearn is just how interesting different peoples can be with just a little bit of a prompt with the horoscopes people were getting in the wizard area. Different people had such different reactions to the things that it said, and it was so funny to see just one person be like, oh, that's so interesting and insightful, and another person be like, oh.
I remember this one group of people, they came up to me and they were just so excited to see a frog, and I think it was one of my favorite interactions overall that I had. They were just really excited to see a frog, and then the other one, I think someone else was a frog, so we had a whole interaction about being frogs. And I just think the people that came were, I think, one of the best parts about it, because they made it a little more special.
If you're new and you don't really care about the lore and just want something to do, the plot is as simple as a ghost story or a Ren Faire. There's no real need to complicate it unless you want to complicate it. There are a lot of little things hidden in the cracks to tell the story through the environment and interactions if you do care, though, and I will tell you, with shows like these, every single person you talk to have something that they can say that will help unlock more of the true story hidden behind. Our goal is to make it so that anybody can enjoy with any level of care and maybe help them want to care? Welcome to the Narratrix. This is our home base. Most of this world, about 90% of this world, is made from scratch by Alex, with about 8% rest of it by me, and then 1% for Toxie and 1% by Phoenix. We do have some things that weren't made from scratch, which we'll go into later. Toxie also did help Alex with making the layout through Sims, which was really cool.
I will say I learned a lot world building wise. Applying scale and rotation, and so that when you put it in Unity, it's not super squished, rotated, and all those things. That was a lot of fun. There was so much more I would love to put in here. I would love to honestly remake this whole place and make it honestly something else. There was so much more vision for what it was going to be, and we had so little time though, and I procrastinated a lot. But there was just so much more for what we thought it would be. It turned out really great though. Still love it. It's still gorgeous.
I actually had no idea what exactly this was going to look like. I had a vision in my head, but I wasn't sure how to showcase it. And in case you don't know, very violently against AI here. So we were just back and forthing a lot. And between me, Toxie, and Alex, they were able to kind of come up with a plan, and they showed me this as a baseline. I was like, that's gorgeous, that's beautiful. And I made a few changes here and there that worked out in our favor, and now we're here.
Doing the story time was really fun, even when some groups had very minimal volunteers. I mean, I wasn't expecting too many. So, like, I always got, like, 2 or 3, so that was enough to get it running. But, like, improvising with those people was actually pretty fun, and most of them were pretty funny.
The archive was one of the, like, pivotal experiences we planned. They would have a guide grab this because it is very dark in that room over there, and they would lead them through a very dark maze, telling the story about the guides. The story of the guides is about how they are called all the way up to their death. To make it short and sweet, it's pretty much just how a something appears one day, and in their minds they hear their own voice wishing for something better and promising that they could live a better life. And so that is the thing that is seeking around and looking for people like me who feel like they don't belong in the world, feel like they are on a different wavelength than most people. Certain guides do have magical ability, but it does depend on your connection and your trust with the Narratrix as a whole. So, for example, I do have magic. My magic is currently not public lore yet, but some people do have public magic lore, such as one of our guides has the ability to bring players into the books that we read, which is how we explain how you join the Buckley Home Haunted House. This is why the guides are there. They guide you through the story because they want you to learn more about the story. Why? You'll have to learn eventually. The Glowyearn Ball was planned way before anything else. I knew out of all the things for the Ren Faire, I wanted to see one thing, and I put a lot of energy into that thing to make sure it bore fruit. The Dance of the Fairy was actually our opener that was somewhat last minute, and it was the idea of a dancer with reduced gravity and some fairy wings. They would slowly just kind of float from a giant bubble onto the flower right below and use a pole to be able to give the illusion of flight. So we were super on board of it needs to be a pole dancer, and we had some pole dancers, but we didn't have enough, so we were able to outsource a little bit, and maybe some of them were interested in joining our team afterwards or helping out in the future, which I appreciate. I think they did an amazing job.
Hello, my name is Crystal Chan. Officially at Glowyearn, I was one of the dancers for both the intros and outros of the ball, so you would either see me as the fairy or moon priestess. At first, I just had to get a dry run with it just to see how slow I felt, so I knew how much time I had to work with, but after that, it was easy enough to get a hold of. Definitely recommend, if you are dancing to something like that, go on your own and do a trial run of it, see how long you have to do stuff. So for the performance themselves, I would have spent more time working on the supporting software I use when I dance. For instance, jump. Since I pole dance and both hands are on a pole, I have to have commands on voice in order to do certain actions like toggles and whatnot. So I would have spent more time fine-tuning those if I had the time.
For the fairies dance, I am inside the big bubble that is at the very top. And because I'm in the big bubble, I'm directly above the flower. When a fairy teleports up here, they are specifically told not to move at all. They spawn and they stay still. They can spin around, but they can't move left to right. And that is because this will drop them eventually. There is a button here they can reach, which will remove their gravity. If you lose your gravity, you have to respawn into the world. You have to rejoin the instance because the gravity cannot be undone, so you will permanently have less gravity. This is a tech booth. I am in the second biggest bubble. So that's where the fairy would spawn. Over here are all of our music choices. So this is our playlist. We only had 8 songs because usually we would start the fairy dance, the entrance at 8:15. That would go until about 8:20, give or take. And then we have 15 to 30 minutes until we do the closer. So 8 songs was perfectly practical. And over here are our stage buttons. Here is the button to remove the fairy show. So that would remove the fairy as well as all the colliders related to it. This button we'll talk about in a minute, but this button will actually switch the area. I don't understand animations too well, so I didn't know how to double up the animation. So there are actually 2 flowers. These are pretty optimized, and they will probably be going sale on my Jinxie, so smiles if you want them, you can have them. Whoever was tech would be up here, keeping an eye down there for the host, which would be me or one of the other upper staff, who would be talking. That upper staff in question would also check in before the show starts with the dancer up there to let them know, has the gravity been turned off? Are you ready? Are you in position? Okay, cool. They would then cue the host or the tech, and the tech would hit this button. One of the big things is I was not sure how to animate this at first. I learned a lot thanks to Reddit. Thank you, Reddit. And then we have these 2 buttons. So these 2 buttons are particles that I couldn't figure out how to put into the animation because of how they are set up. And you press the first one right there, and that would be the first section of particles. Now, the reason I don't know how to animate these is because these are all particles that are on a path system made by my good friend Risky. And I didn't know how to take those buttons and put them into the animator to turn on. So I just had tech be in charge of it. I wanted it to be all automatic. I'm not savvy enough just yet. So we'll learn. And so that spawns all of those lights, which are the exact same as the purple ones, but orange. And then that leads us to this button. This is our game pods. This was another thing we don't know how to animate with part of the animator. Before they hit, we click it because then it'll come up right on time. And then we have our game pods, the host over there, the fairy goes over to the host says thank you, and I can talk about this now. Switch stages. You see the emissions, they're getting lighter. They turn off when you hit it. That is the goal. The tech knew that they want to wait until it gets quiet, but not completely gone, so you could tell when you clicked it. Meanwhile, the closer was something that we talked about during the entire event. Even before the event was public, we were making content about it, posting promotionals about it. We knew that the closer, without saying what the closer was going to be our biggest deal.
I hadn't gone for the first 2 days, and I honestly regret it. The day I went to go and the last day was, I think, the best part that I think the Glowyearn Festival had, and I was really sad to know that it was the first and last time I was gonna see it.
The animations were cool as it felt like I was casting like a magical spell on the entire place, like especially when the like leaves started to come down and everything. That was amazing. I don't think I'll be able to get that kind of experience ever again unless the closest that comes to it is probably like a Lux Nova performance, but even then I feel like that was definitely way cooler to be a part of than like any of the performances I've done.
During this time, Mavis and Jasper would help choose a guest to see who was interested in doing the ritual of raising the moon. A big thing about that is we wanted to make sure to choose a guest that's not going to kind of just meme on it the entire time, because it is VRChat at the end of the day. We're here to have fun, and some people think that that fun is going to become cringy or weird or stupid, and they're not going to care enough. And that's their right, that's fine. But you're going to have to at the very least respect our space, or we're just going to remove you.
Usually some of the people that I interact with at the end of the night or in the Ren Faire, when I think that, oh, I had a really fun interaction with them, I want to go over there and choose them for this spectacular moment. Because, you know, we already shared a connection. That's what I was looking for. I would also ask the person that was helping me out, Ellie. They helped pick people out as well, which was very helpful when I was unsure of who I should be picking.
Everything you see in the ball, 100% made by scratch. It was custom built, rigged, and animated to fit our needs. Alex made the stage, I animated the stage, I made the flowers and the bubbles and everything else pretty much, and Kara's Maju, she decorated it all. I will say a huge regret with the ball is I wish we had more time to decorate it more. One of our biggest weaknesses, and I could feel it as well, is that it was a big empty space. And the idea of the flower pods being separate things for people to do, such as improv games, palm reading, whatever, it helped a bit, but it still didn't help a lot. So I do think We are planning on using that ballroom again in the future, and if we do, I'm going to kind of rework it and make it feel even stronger and more interesting, more engaging, more full, so we can actually enjoy ourselves.
A big regret for Glowyearn was a lot of the information we had gathered after the fact. Like, when we were running through practices, we were thinking of everything we could have possibly thought up to run each and every bit. But yet, after we had done the shows and it was too late to change anything, that's when we started thinking of things of, oh, I see the guests respond to your character a bit more. We could have your character do something, another bit of guest interaction to get them going more. Oh, we see guests get confused with this bit. We could change that. And it was just like too late to actually implement any changes that would have made things progress more smoothly.
The Ritual of the Moon was literally the only thing I knew I wanted to do from the beginning. Everything was pretty malleable. I was open to ideas or vetoes for a lot of things, except for the closer. The closer was I'm putting my foot down. I refuse to allow this closer to not happen. There was a symbolic importance to that specific performance for me that I needed to see happen. And it got to the point where when we were unsure if we were going to have enough dancers, I started coming to terms with the idea if I want it to happen, I'm going to have to dance. And I don't have any dancing skills. You could see some of these hot moves right here. I don't know how to dance. But I am willing to do it because that is how badly I wanted this to happen. The inspiration for the closer was, okay. Listen, you're going to have to go with me for a minute. It's specifically two things, and one of them is significantly more embarrassing than the other. The first one is I went to the Darkwood Manor. It was one of their last performances. I didn't know what New Eden was about. And if you don't know what Lux Nova is about, please, I'm going to put a link and below. Go watch it. Go see it. I'm actually a host there. You can come, if you're a PC VR user, you should come. I love them to death. On the stage was a broken chandelier, and as soon as the music started playing, Phantom of the Opera, the chandelier started moving throughout the crowd, which was very similar to a thing that actually happened in real life with Phantom of the Opera. It blew me away. It gave me such inspiration. I felt the hype throughout the entire night. It was an amazing experience start through finish. The second thing is the way I explain that feeling. And the way I explain that feeling is pretty much an episode of My Little Pony. In the episode where they talk about getting their cutie marks, Twilight Sparkle sees Celestia raise the sun. And you can, if you went to the show, or you'll probably see now where the symbolism comes in.
Just how beautiful the animation of the Ritual of the Moon is, and how the dancers absolutely crushed each performance of it. It was very interesting to hook together a bunch of different characters that came from so many different brains and putting them all together in one pot and getting them to work together.
I know I could show the animations that I made, and they're not very good because I didn't know how to animate it all very well. But I was proud of them, and I know consistently Quest users were much more excited. And I think that as I grow and get better at what I do, I will also help elevate them and wow them more and more. And I think that's cool. The fact that they were so amazed, and some of them had realization that this is something that could happen in VRChat, and that maybe they could even do with the tools that they have. And a lot of them asked if they could join the team, which, if you want to join the team, we'd love to have you.
Don't do it! Don't do it! Don't join! Don't join! Don't do it! It's a hell! It's hell!
What I'd tell somebody that's interested in joining the team is do it. Because it can be nerve-wracking to step out of your comfort zone and go into something, especially if you're doing it alone and you're not joining with a friend or something. It can be really daunting. You can meet a lot of people who have and gain a lot of more experience in the craft of, maybe you can learn how to make worlds or make avatars or just acting. If you've never really acted before, we've got so many talented people. There's so many options for networking, and just, it's so cool. I know it's scary, but sometimes the scary things are the things you need to do,
When I first joined, or auditioned, I was also just as terrified. Some of the people actually kind of made me nervous, and I wasn't sure getting back into acting was going to be something I would be able to do, but instead, I was welcomed with open arms, and I ended up getting kind of like a similar to a family. I got people that seem to care, and people who are willing to help whenever. And in fact, I think they've even helped me, or has started to get me interested in doing other things other than acting, like maybe do something like tech or other things. So if you aren't sure about doing something, I'd say just do it scared, even if, like, because it might just be good. You never know. You just got to take the leap.
I mean, you should join our team because it's super awesome.
Join. It's better to, around and find out rather than, never know. Because, honestly, I joined this group because a friend was like, oh, hey, we need, like, horror actors and stuff like that. And little did I know I would be stepping into one of my favorite friend groups of all time. So,
We are always looking for more people. We want to be able to expand this. I know that for certain. So if you have any doubts, just push them aside real quick. We aren't looking for anything perfect. We want to help.
If you're not sure on joining Narratrix, I just tell you, I was also very unsure of joining in the first place. And I just said, F it, I'll do it. And here I am, and honestly, it's the best time I've ever had. I will remember this for a long time.
Each show helps remind me and many of my staff that there's a joy to what we do and why we do it. It isn't to say it doesn't have our own issues, but at the end of the day, those issues are kind of worth it. Except for the queue. Our big public event was in October of 2025. It was the Buckley Home haunted house you could walk through with a bunch of people and get jump scared and then make it to the end, and it was a promo for the horror map that I'm currently working on. The issue we started that month with 70 members. Actually, we started halfway through that month with 70 members. And by the end of that one weekend, those 2 days, we went from 70 to 1,000 members. And that night specifically, we had a queue of over 400 members, and there was no way we could get through all 400 of them. That was a huge wake-up call to, we have something people like. We are doing something that people want to see.
Another favorite memory was I had a little tiny person who was very enthused to join my cult, and then they tried to help me when I was being arrested.
It was a group of like 4 or 5 people, all dressed up as some frog adventurers, and they made it their mission to explore and find other frogs.
Even if you mess up, don't dwell too much on it, because then it's going to get into your mindset, and then you wouldn't want to be in the team anymore.
My favorite part was watching one of the thieves getting chased into the pond and just being like, well, that's pretty normal here, I suppose.
In week 1, this was a very small joke made on just a pure improv moment of me trying to sneak into a bar. I was pretending to wash windows, and in the week 2, I was still getting recognized by people that came back for a second time with new friends for that window washing bit. And even though the Ren Faire was done, we were over in the Narratrix or at the ball. At the end, people were still really gung-hoing that bit, and having a team of window washers.
Just seeing people's reaction to the little bits of life advice I got to give. I always enjoy helping people, so the couple people that said that I actually did help them was some of the best things I've ever heard. I was so happy to hear people actually appreciating it and taking it to heart. It brightened my day, brightened my whole month, to be honest. It was awesome. It was great to hear that, and honestly, people need to take better care of themselves, so it was good just being able to tell people that. Be like, hey, be good to yourself.
It also begins my continuing battle with VRChat's queue system. If anybody asks what our biggest challenge is for the Narratrix, it will always be the queue. And it's for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's impossible to get through everyone, and we get a lot of frustrated people because they waited the whole 3 hours for the event and then didn't get to make it, which I get, I understand, and I'm sorry. I wish we could get through more people, but I can't push my actors farther than they can go. And number 2, half the time, it doesn't even work. There's a bug where if multiple people are getting told that the queue is open for them and they hit join, whoever hits join first will actually make it into the world. The other person will be kicked from the queue and then won't be able to rejoin the queue until they restart VRChat. And this is very common. I would know every show I get at least like 10 people who let me know about it. So, please, VRChat, I need you to fix this. And this is why we want to do multiple instancing for Glowyearn. We thought the best way to counteract it was to have more worlds with different things to do instead of the same worlds doing the same things. So originally we had 5 different worlds we wanted to do. The idea was that for these longer events with multiple instances, guests would be able to travel around and engage with games and things to do, and if they happen to stay in an instance longer than we predicted, next week they'd have even more to do differently. So we would have people able to return and feel like they aren't just, oh, nothing changed. Unfortunately, real life did get in the way, like I mentioned previously, so we did go from 5 to 3 to 2 worlds at the end, and honestly, we actually went down to 1 world because on our 23rd show, people were so upset about the Narratrix section not being like the Ren Faire. We felt like it wasn't worth opening up again until we can add more to do, and we just did not have the bandwidth to add more, so we just closed it. All in all, the Glowyearn Festival was ambitious, to say the least. There's a saying about shooting for the moon because you'll at least end up with the stars, and I think that kind of sums up our community pretty well. Every project we work on is huge on paper and gets narrowed down and more condensed, and even pivots altogether at times, but it's fine. It's how life works, and everything we do is a series of choices. It's just another one. The show itself was only a fraction of what we wanted, but in reality, I think that's okay. There's so much we didn't know starting out. There were things I was learning on the fly. Alex didn't know how to make a world at all until this one. We were able to overcome these frustrations and difficulties that came with a big event like this because we wanted to do it. And at the end of the day, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of Glowyearn and I'm proud of what we made. I have a lot of regrets, sure, and things I would have changed or spent more time on in hindsight, but we're a small team. In total, it was myself and Alex doing most of the world building, with Toxie and Phoenix helping out with assets here and there. And of course, Risky Kin for their amazing code and modifying their code literally days before the show, like at midnight their time, because we had a huge bug issue. The best thing about it, and about Conflict, is that we did have a team of people who wanted to solve the problems and do what they could, where they could. Some learned how to build worlds for the very first time. Some learned how to make things quest compatible for the very first time. Some people made assets they've never worked on before, or learned a new skill, or learned how to elevate the skill that they had. Assets, games, improv, acting. I've watched so many members of my community go from being shy and unsure, kind of staying in the backlogs, to feeling confident enough to suggest or add or make our events even better. That trust is something I'm treasuring and taking care of because it isn't something you see often. I may own the Narratrix, but it's only as good as the people who surround it. The staff, the guests. I want to make this not only to document what we've achieved, but an appreciation to all the hard work and time everyone's put into it. It would take us hours to comment on each and every one of your contributions, so for now, I just want to say thank you. That means a lot to me. Glowyearn may have ended, but we have plans for many years ahead, and with those plans will come another summer event dedicated to this style of content related to Chapter 2 story, The Mother. And if you wish to be part of The Mother, or anything we do furthermore, if you're 18 or older, please consider dropping an application.
If you are scared to join, though, honestly, do it scared. We are pretty accepting, and we are willing to work with so many different types of people. But, here's just one thing I'm asking for a personal point. Please, we have more positions than just actors that we need filled. We got tech, we got security, world building, asset creation. There's so many positions on the team. Please try out more of them. We will work with you to build those talents in those zones. Please!
We just did auditions, but we are going to be looking at auditions again because we want to be able to host at least 2 instances of The Mother at the same time during October. So, if you know you're free during October, you should come help. It'd be fun, I swear. Also, if you haven't yet, you should check out our horror map, the Buckley Home teaser, which is a taste of the full experience we've been hard at work for. And if you want to support what we do even more, hey, I have a Ko-Fi, Patreon, and Narratrix as a VRC store linked below. Every little bit helps, and especially as somebody who is currently between jobs, they kind of keep me going a little bit. Also, those who do support the show during the beta, this is the Ko-Fi and Patreon specifically, you will get a private world link to the beta of the world, which means that it will have extra puzzles and things for you to do that are not going to be in the public version, as a personal thank you for your support. We really want to do a 3rd show. We want to do 3 shows a year is our main goal, one of them being related to charity. And so being able to know that I can put all of my time into something like this would make it so much easier, as well as being able to properly compensate those who help out where they want to, because that is something that I would like to be able to do. Of course, no pressure. you don't want to donate or you don't have the funds to, that's okay. If you want to support in other ways, make sure to share these videos, make sure to support our TikTok and our YouTube. Just watching some of our videos helps get us monetized, helps monetize our content, helps push it out further, and to maybe people who will monetize it, or at least we get ad revenue, you know? So there are ways you can support in other ways, and I appreciate you being here all the same. Remember to never be afraid to go for your dreams, because even if it never turns out the way you envisioned, it's still going to turn out great. Your community will love it because it is yours. And even if you don't have the skills needed for your vision, pivoting is a great lesson and can make something even better than you hoped for. I really do appreciate every single one of you who comes to our events and supports us, and hearing the excitement every single time we do an event gives me more ideas and wants me to do more, make more, and create more. And I hope that I can for a very long time. So thank you. And see you in October for our next show.